Okay, welcome everyone, and a guten Shushan Purim. Great to have everybody joining us. A little tired, a little weary, but rearing to go. So we'll start from 4 lines from the bottom of Daf Nun Amid Beis. Tnan Hosem Chavite Kohen Gadol, the Chavite Kohen Gadol, which is brought half in the morning and half in the afternoon, even on Shabbos. Lishasan, it's kneading. Varichasan, it's braiding. Vafiyasan, and it's baking bifnim, has to be done in Zara, v'doiches es Shabbos, and it supersedes the Shabbos. So how do we know it supersedes the Shabbos? Minani mili. Rav Huna, so Rav Huna says, it says, tufine, you should bake it, which we dash in teafena no, it should be a good baking. But if you would have to bake it from the day before, it won't be so good after going a full day before. If you baked it the day before in shifa, it will get swollen and it won't be fresh. Says the Gemara, well, even though they didn't have refrigeration, you could cover it over with vegetables to keep it fresh. So the Rabbi Yishmael Tana Te'asa, the word Te'asa means Te'asa al machbas b'shemen Te'asa. Te'asa means regardless. The Vafilu b'Shabbos, Te'asa, and Vafilu b'Tumah. Even b'Tumah it's done. Abaya says, Amakra soilas mincha tamid, a fine flour meal offering tamid, perpetually, meaning, harihi minchas tamidim. It's like the mincha of the tamid, which is done even on Shabbos. Rava Amar, it says, al machavas, on a griddle. Oh, on a griddle, that means that you need a clay shares. Malamit shetuna keli. Now, if you would bake it from the day before, then it would become pasalbalina because it was already in the clay shares. V'afilame esmal ifsalei balina. Tanya kavase de Rava. We have a brisa like Rava. Al machavas malamit shetuna keli. You need a keli, and if it would be left over then overnight and baked before Shabbos, it would be pasalbalina. Now, here we're going to talk about how much oil has to be put into this Chavite Kohen Gadol. This is going to be the subject of tonight's daf. So it says an extra word. It says ba shemen. That's extra. It's extra because it needs oil. So you don't have to tell me ba shemen. If you fry it on a griddle, it should be done like in a lug of oil, like any minchas machabas. So why does it say bashemen? Oh, that's coming to tell me lahoisif lo shemen, that it should have more than a lug of shemen. But ve'eni yodea kama, I don't know how much more. Hareini done. Therefore, I will make the following logical argument. Nemer kan shemen, it says by Chavit and shemen. V'nemer lahalan b'minchas nesachim, the mincha that accompanies the tamid shemen. Ma'alahalan, a keves gets shloisha lugin, right? Because it's a reviya sahin, la keves. A reviya sahin, a hin is 12, so a quarter is 3. Ma'alahalan shloisha lugin liyisarin. Afkan, here also shloisha lugin liyisarin. Or maybe, oiklach l'derech zu. Or maybe we should go in the other direction. Nemer kan shemen. It says over here by a Chavite Kohen Gadol shemen. V'nemer b'minchas nedava shemen. And it says by a regular minchas nedava shemen. Ma'alahaline, a regular minchas nedava is loig echad. Afkan loig echad. Now the Gemara is going to address, but if it's just one loig, then why does it have to say the extra b'shemen? Then we'll have to deal with that. So the Gemara says, but let's see which is it more comparable to. Is it more comparable to the Minchas Nesachim, or is it more comparable to the Minchas Nedava? So says the Gemara, Nira Lemi Daima. Let's see what it's more comparable to. Donin Tashat Mitashat. Tashat, of course, is a mnemonic. We learn out that the just like the Chavitin is Tadir, it's done every day. So we learn out from the Nesachim of the Talmud, which is also done every day. It's Doicha Shabbos. So we learn it out from the Talmud, which is Doicha Shabbos. and it's Deicha Tumah. They ain't done in Tashat, Mishe'ena Tashat. The Minchas Nedava is not Tumid, it's not Deicha Shabbos, and it's not Deicha Tumah. Oy, Klach L'derech Zu, or we should go in the other direction. Done in Yogel Mi-Yogel. The Minchas Nedava is a Yochid, is an individual, and this Chavite Kohen Gadol is also an individual. Biglal Atzma, the Minchas Nedava is bought on itself, the Chavite Kohen Gadol is also bought on itself. And Levina, it has frankincense. Now, this is all not true with the Minchas Nesachim. The Minchas Nesachim is not brought by itself. The Minchas Nesachim of the Tamid is a communal carbon. It's brought together with the Tamid, not Biglal Atzma. And it doesn't have Levina. So therefore, they ain't done in Yogel, but she ain't a Yogel. Rabbi Shmuel ben Oishel, Rabbi Yechon ben Breika, Rabbi Shmuel ben Oishel, Rabbi Yechon ben Breika presents it as following: Soilas mincha tamid, harihi lach keminchas tamidim. It is like the mincha of the tamidim. No, it's a minchas nesachim, which has 3 lug. Ma minchas tamidim shloisha lugim liyisaron, avzu shloisha lugim liyisaron. Rabbi Shimon says, Riba kan shemen, because remember we said Bashomen tells us that it has extra oil. V'riba b'minchas kvasim shemen, and the mincha of the kvasim, which we said is a revius ahin, also has ma'alahalan shloisha lugin liyisaron, 3 lugin liyisaron, afkan shloisha lugin liyisaron. Oi, klach l'derech zu, riba kan shemen, v'riba b'minchas parim ve'elim shemen. Now this is interesting. The ratio of shemen to the flour by the par and the ayil, right? It's a chatzi hin for the par and a shlish is a hin la'oil. So that's 6 and 3. Now the chatzi hin. By the par is the par is 3 isaron with 6 lug. So that's a ratio of 2 lug for every isaron. The same thing is true with the ayil. The ayil is a shlish ahin. That's shlish ahin is 4 lug. And which is 2 isaron with a third of oil, which is a third of a lug, which is 4. So that's again a ratio of 2 to 1, 2 for every isaron. And therefore, do we say it should be like that? Malahalan shnei lugin liyisaron, 2 lug liyisaron. Afkan by the Chavite Kohen Gadol should be shnei lugin liyisaron, and not learning it out from the keves, which is 3 lugin liyisaron. So the Gemara says, okay, let's again see to what it is more similar. Nira lemi daima, done in mincha haba isaron. We learn out a mincha which is brought as an isaron. The Chavite Kohen Gadol is an isaron. Mincha haba isaron, mincha of kvasim which comes as an isaron. They ain't done in mincha haba isaron. Mincha haba shnayim shleisha, from the mincha of the ayil which is 2 isaron, the mincha of the par which is 3 isaron. So the Gemara says, I'm a little confused over here. Haguf kasha. Amarta b'shemen lahaisif la shemen. You said b'shemen comes to tell me that you need extra oil. Then you said maybe we should learn it out from the Minchas Nedava. This is going back to the beginning. But I don't understand. By the Minchas Nedava, it's only 1 lug of oil. How could you say if Bashemen comes to add, what would be the svara to say that we're learning it out from the Minchas Nedava? Amar Rabbi, a man tana Bashemen lahaisif. Who's the one that says Bashemen lahaisif? Reb Shimon he. It's Reb Shimon. Okay, we are holding on Daf Nun Aleph Amud Aleph, 17 lines from the bottom.
Right across from the Hadar Tanit.
So, Man Tana B'Hashem and Lo Haisif, who is the one that says B'Hashem and to add? That's Reb Shimon he. That's the opinion of. Second. Right? According to Reb Shimon, it wouldn't be possible to say that we should learn it out from the Menachos Daf, because he learns from Hashem and there has to be extra. The only question is, how much more? Right? How much more? Do we say it's 3 lugen? Do we say it's 2 lugen? Ubedina man kamahader. Who is the one that says that maybe we should compare it to Menachos Daf and it should be only 1 leg? Rabbi Yishmael. That's Rabbi Yishmael. Now, Bashemen will see that there is a possibility that maybe the Minchas Chavitim doesn't need oil at all. Maybe it should be dry, like the Minchas Chayte. We'll see. Rav Huna b'rei Rabbi Shuai Mekula Rabbi Yishmael b'nai Shel Rabbi Yochanan ben Braikihi v'achi kamer Bashemen v'haisul Hashem. Why? Because the ilik vaya shemen, because if it's telling us that you need oil, loitzara, because it's like a regular minchas machvas. Kevin the sivba al machvas, keminchas machvas damya. It's a regular minchas machvas which needs a log of shemen. Oy einay ella likvaya lo shemen. No, maybe I might think that the minchas chavite kain gadol is different. And it doesn't have oil at all. Which doesn't have oil. So even if it's coming to tell me that it needs oil, medina. Why can't we derive that it should have 1 lug of oil from a logical argument? But v'dun dina v'lo yasilei. They attempted to make the argument to compare it to the Minchas Nesachim of the Tamid, and it's possible that no, it should be compared to the Minchas Nedava, the Atzrucha Kra. And we needed a pasuk. The pasuk says Soilas Minchas Tamid, that it's compared to the Mincha that accompanies the Tamid, the Minchas Nesachim that has 3 leg to an Isarim. Messiah Rabbi Shmuel Milsei, like Rabbi Shmuel finishes it. Rabbi says, Kula Reb Shimon. The entire discussion and is going according to Reb Shimon. And that Bashemen tells me that we need extra oil. Ve'ilu lo nemar kama. And when it says, maybe it's compared to Minchas Nedava, it means if it didn't say Bashemen. V'achi kama. Bashemen lo yisel Bashemen. De'ilik v'ya lo shemen, because if it's to tell me that you need shemen, like tzarech, because it says it's al machvas, kevin nechsibba al machvas, k'machvas damya. V'ad shelo yoma Bashemen yeshli badin. And but you'll say, but even without Bashemen, why don't we just learn out that it's extra oil from the Minchas Nesachim, which is 3 lug, but v'dun dina v'lo yasilei. But then they tried to learn it, and we said no, because it's also comparable to the Minchas Nedava, and then it would only need 1 lug. And therefore, v'atzrucha Bashemen, to tell me it needs extra oil, and therefore we learn it out from the Minchas Tamid, and it's 3 lug. Then the Gemara says, Hadar Amar, who says it should be 3 lug? Maybe it should be like the par and the elim, which have a ratio of 2 to 1. Right? The par is 3 isaron with 6 lug, and the ayil is 2 isaron with 4 lug. So that's 2 lug per isaron. So maybe the Chavite Kohen Gadol should have 2 lug. Hadarama, so it says no, because done in Mincha by Yisaron, we learn out of Mincha that comes Yisaron, the Chavite Kohen Gadol, from the Minchas Kvasim, which is in Yisaron, and therefore it's 3 lug per Yisaron. Okay, just getting underway on this Shushan Purim, where Yisrael is wearing his shtreimel. So we welcome in Yisrael Fisher and Yaakov Warman, Saba, Shalom Fogel, Mo Kushner, Dr. Guy, Yitzi Muller, Dr. Black, Menachem Umansky, Eddie Chazan, Mark Frankel, Ben Zion Cohn, Menachem Umansky, Mel Zachter, Barry Cement, we see he's dressed up in his costume, Michael, Shimon Klein, Gabriel Epstein, Stephen Holtzman, Richard Rosenzweig, Ilya Shutman, Barbach here in the shul. We have the pleasure of having A.B. Spribe joining us. What a pleasure. Berish Gesseman, Danny Vogel, Ruvain Shanit, a big Kiddush Hashem after such a day to come and learn Torah after all the excitement. We're sponsored by Shalom Fogel, Ili Nishmas Yaakov Zeb ben Yudaye, Rivka Bas Yaakov Yosef, Tivya Miriam Bas Gad, Yosef ben Sion ben Yaakov Zev, the Fu Shalema for Moshe Aryeh ben Miriam, and for a great shidduch for Chaya Tivya Bas Shoshana Gittel. Also a great shidduch for Batya Bas Sarah. We learn Li Nishmas Yaakov Chaim ben Abba, Esther Bas Yona, Abram ben Shmuel HaKrain. The Fu Shalema for Liba Bas Anya. We learn the Fu Shalema for Yosef Shmuel ben Miriam. We learn for a healthy mommy, healthy baby for Ariel and Lior. Basel Zarifka, the Fu Shalema for Moshe Meir ben Esther Fradel. As we start the new Mishnah, having in mind to be Mekayim the mitzvah of a Dibar Tabam, Lo Minu Kayin Acher Tachtav. If the Kayin Gadol died, and they didn't get a chance to appoint another Kayin in his place, Mishal Miya Yisakreva. The Chavitin in the afternoon, whose funds is it brought from? Reb Shimon Aimer Mishal Tzibur. Reb Shimon says it comes from the community. Reb Yehuda Aimer Mishal Yoshim. It comes from the ears of the Kohen Gadol. And it's brought whole. It's not brought a half. Tan Rabbanan. Kohen Gadol Shemeis. V'loi minu Kohen Akar Tachtav. Minayin Shetei Minchasei Kreva Mishal Yoshim. How do you know? This is like the second opinion of Reb Shimon, of Rabbi Yehuda. How do you know that the mincha is offered from the ears? Mibanav, from the children, and it's pretty clear, from the children, Yasa Oisa. It should be from the children. That's pretty clear. I might think that we should bring it as halves, like we do, like the Kohen Gadol does in his lifetime. Talmud Loimer Osa, Yakriv Osa means kula. It should be brought whole. In other words, all 12 loaves at one time. Kula v'loi chetzia. Div Reb Yehuda. That's the position of Reb Yehuda. That's Reb Yehuda in the Mishnah that says it comes from the Yoshim. Rabbi Shimon Aimer. Reb Shimon says chok olam, a everlasting statute, and we darshan olam. Mishal Olam. It comes from the community. Kolul Tokter. It should be burnt up whole. Shetei Kula Baktar. That it should be burnt whole and not half and half. Says the Gemara. But wait a second. Do we darshan Yasa Osa to tell me that it comes from the children? V'haya koyen HaMashiach lahachi yudasa. We learn from that pasuk the whole din of the Minchas Chinuch. Now we recognize that as a sefer. But when a kohen was inaugurated, he had to bring a special carbon. The Kedisanya Zek carbon Aaron Ubanov, Asher Yakrivu Hashem, which they offer to Hashem, on the day that he's anointed. Says the Gemara, Yachal you Aaron Ubanov Makrivin carbon Echad, that Aaron and his children offer just one carbon in partnership. Talmud Leimer Asher Yakrivu Hashem, they offer to Hashem. Aaron b'fnei atzmai, Ubanov b'fnei atzman. Aaron by himself offers an inaugural carbon, and his children by himself. Now, Banav, when it says Banav, it means that even the Kohanim Hedyatis, Elu Kohanim Hedyatis, this first time they serve, they bring this Minchas Chinuch. Atayim Kohanim Hedyatis, or Eina LeKohanim Gedolim, maybe it means the Kohanim Gedolim of each generation. Kishavaymer HaKoyin HaMashiach Tachtav Mi Banav, Hari Koyin Gadol Emar. It says the Koyin HaMashiach Tachtav, the Kohen Gadol is already clear. Hamani Mekayim Banav, it means Elu Kohanim Hedyatis. So this pasuk is not extra to tell me that when the Kohen Gadol dies, the money comes from the ears. It's talking about the inaugural carbon. Says the Gemara, Im Kein Lichtav Prat HaKoyin HaMashiach Tachtav Banav Yeasa. My mi Banav. What does it mean from his children? Now, mi banav implies from and not all. Shma mino tarte, so we could learn out both, and we could learn out also that right, from his children, and not all of the children. It's referring to a special case. And that's referring to where the Kohen Gadol dies, that we bring the mincha from the funds of the heirs. Says the Gemara of Rabbi Shimon, what does he do with the word oisa? In other words, we gotta hold on to the drasha over here. Rabbi Shimon learned from Chak Olam that it comes from the Olam, and he learned from Kolul Toktir that it has to be totally burnt and not half and half. So Rabbi Yehuda learned that out from Osa. Right? Oisa kula v'lo chetzia. Rabbi Shimon that learns it out from Kolul Toktir, what does he do with the word oisa? Rabbi Shimon, hi oisa my avidle. Mi boile the Kohen Gadol shemeis umino achar tachtav. The Kohen Gadol that dies, and they appointed another one in his place. Shalo yavi chatzi yisar mi beisa. He doesn't bring a half of an yisar from his house, and he doesn't use the leftover one of the one who died. Rather, he brings osa. He brings a full amount and uses half. Says the Gemara, "V'teifikle min umachatzisa." It has to be half from a whole. Says the Gemara, "Vav loy darish." He doesn't dash in that vav. Now, Rabbi Yehuda, who learns it out from osa, so what does he do with chak olam? Chak olam ma'avidlei. Excuse me, Rabbi Yehuda, who says, Rabbi Yehuda, who learns it out that it's from the ocean. What does he do with chak olam? Rabbi Yehuda, I chak olam ma'avidlei. Chuka la'olam tehei. It's telling us that the chavitin should be in all generations. Now, what does Rabbi Yehuda do with Kolul Toktir? He learns out that you do it whole from Osa. So Kalul Taktir Lamali. What does he do with Kalul Taktir? Mibayle the Kidisanya ainly Ella Elyaina Minchas Kain Gadol. I only know that the earlier verse, the mincha of the Kain Gadol, is Kalul Taktir. Has to be totally burnt on the Mizbech. The Tachtaina and the lower verse, which is talking about a Minchas Kain Hadyet, can't be eaten. Remember, because there's no shirayim by the mincha of a Kain Gadol, because it's all burnt on the Mizbech. Below say Achel. How do we know? Minayin litein es omer shel zeh bezeh. How do we know that it's totally burnt, which it says by the Kain Gadol is also by the Minchas Kain? There's omer shel zeh bezeh, and the lav of eating is also by the mincha of the Kain Gadol. Talmud Leimer kolul gzeir shava kolul gadol. Nemakan kolul, it says by the mincha of the Kain Gadol kolul. V'nemal halan kolul, and it says by the mincha of the Hadyet Kain Hadyet kolul. Ma'kan kolul taktir, just like by the Kain Gadol it has to be burned completely. Aflahalan kolul katir. The minchas Hadyet is also completely burnt on the mizbech. Malahalan, by the minchas Hadyet litein lo isase ala chilasi, you're not allowed to eat it. Afkan litein lo isase ala chilasi. Now, we know that even if the Kain Gadol dies, we still bring the Minchas Chavitin. We either learn it out from Chok Olam, or we learn it out. We learn out from Chok Olam. Says the Gemara. If you learn it out from Chok Olam, does that mean that it's biblically incumbent upon the tzibur to bring it? We're going to run into trouble. V'savar Reb Shimon mishel tzibur d'oraisa. V'atanan, Reb Shimon himself said, Shiva dvarim hiskinu bezdin. And v'zeh echad mehem, that if the Kain Gadol dies, the chavitim come from the Sibur. For example, here's a few of them. A guy who sends his oiler from overseas, if he sent with it libations, kreva mishalai, then we bring his libation. V'im lav, if not, the libation comes from the tzibur, kreva mishal tzibur. V'chein ger shemeis v'niach zvachim, a ger without relatives that died and left the carbon. Yesh le nesachim, if he left nesachim kreva mishalai. V'im lav kreva mishal tzibur. And here's the problem. Reb Shimon himself says this. Utnai bezdin hu kain gadol shemeis, v'loy minu kain achar tachtav, and he didn't leave a kain in his place. Shetei minchasai kreva mishal tzibur. The mincha is brought from the tzibur. So how could you say it's a deraisa from Chok Olam if Reb Shimon himself said it's only a din derabana? Amar Rabbi Avo, shnei takonas hayu. With two stages. Deraisa and the tzibur. Biblically, it's supposed to come from the tzibur. What happened was that came in the kachaza, the kamidchaka lishka, when they saw that the lishka was tight. Unfortunately, the economy of the Beis Hamikdash was very poor, and they couldn't bring it. Tzekinu the legabe yoshim, the ligvei miyoshim. So they said, okay, collect it from the ocean. Came in the kachazu, the kapashi bag, but when they saw that the ocean were negligent, so then ukmu adoraisa, that it comes from the tzibur, Chok Olam. Okay, we'll stop here, Rabbi say. Really good that Olam came. The Mishnah Yomis we did already. I'm going to put it up now. We did it earlier in the day. Also a reminder that tomorrow we have our first Haggadah here, and we do have a sponsor, Nachman Chapler, is